All right, Notre Dame fans, we're back with another edition of WOPU Wednesdays. This week's guest is junior wide receiver Conor Ratigan. Really cool guest, is doing a lot of really cool things. We'll get into all of that. But first, Conor, it's awesome to have you on, man. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. I've seen and watched these videos over the past couple of weeks, and it's been a treat to watch. So I'm glad I'm able to participate in it.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of really cool participants and members of WAPU Nation, and really awesome what you guys are doing, obviously on the field, but off the field as well. And this is brought to you by Augie's Locker Room, as always, by the way, Notre Dame fans. So step in there if you're going to the Georgia Tech game next weekend. That's the final home game of the regular season for Notre Dame. Kind of crazy that we've gotten to this point, but here we are in mid-November. So, Conor, speaking of coming to South Bend, going to Notre Dame games, you've been living in South Bend for a little while. We understand, and you're a graduate of St. Joe High School. So, tell us your
Yep.
experience living in South Bend, and do you have any Notre Dame ties before you even stepped on campus?
So I guess I'll start from the beginning. So I've lived in South Bend since I was in second grade. That's when I moved here, and so I've been here. I don't know. I think it's like 12 plus years now. We moved here because my dad took the job as a Notre Dame football team doctor, and so we moved here. I went to St. Joe grade school and then St. Joe high school, and then now I'm at Notre Dame. And all three of those schools are within like a mile radius. Like it's pretty nuts. And before I got to Notre Dame, I had known of it and heard of it a lot, and I was a big fan of the school. I was a big fan of. I like walked on the campus, and I had visited like been to Mass the Basilica many times, and a lot of that is due to both my parents are graduates from Notre Dame, and my older brother who just graduated last year. He was 2021 class. He graduated from Notre Dame, so I had a lot of experience. Going to a lot of the home games, almost every home game since I was in like sixth grade, and so I've always been like really fascinated with the team. Always been like a diehard Notre Dame fan in like all facets like family, football, school. I've heard it all, and now that I'm a part of it, it's been pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, you have all those family ties, but one that sticks out for sure is your dad going to Notre Dame. He played football here too, right?
He did, yeah. He came from Iowa, small town in Iowa. Came to Notre Dame, played linebacker here, and then was fortunate enough to play in the NFL at the Indianapolis Colts for about 4 years. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
So two things really cool with your dad. Obviously, you're getting to put on the same uniform that he did all those years ago. How cool is that? And then I'm just curious, do teammates know you as, the guy whose dad is the team doctor, or what is that dynamic like? Because that's obviously a really cool relationship that you have as well.
It's actually kind of funny. You'd be surprised how many times, like I've talked to players and like I didn't realize your dad was a team doctor, and I'm like, how do you not like see that connection? Obviously, some guys are like, oh, that's pretty cool, like your dad's a team doc. But other guys, like just the other day, I was talking to Coach Freeman, and he's like, I didn't realize your dad was a doctor, and I was like, yep, yeah, same last names and same family, but yeah, it's like to your first part of the question, it is pretty cool. The first time I ran out of the tunnel, it was pretty awesome just because I've watched it so many times and like put on the jersey and the helmet, like especially putting on the helmet for the first time, like the game helmet, the shiny one. Like it was pretty surreal because after I ran out of the tunnel, my dad's also on the sideline because again he's like the team doc. So ran out of the tunnel, I turned back and looked at him and I was like, it's pretty special, pretty cool moment. I don't think many people are able to do that. I'm I'm grateful every day I'm able to do that. And so now every game, every home game, I'll run out tunnel, I'll go down to the end zone, I'll say my prayer, I'll turn around, and I'll meet my dad, like give him a hug, and then the game starts. So I've got a cool little tradition that I don't think I'm grateful for it now, and I'll definitely miss it. Once it's over.
Yeah, those are moments that you guys will definitely never forget and cherish forever, though. So that's really awesome. But if people don't know you as the guy whose dad is the team doctor, they might know you as the guy who's 1/4 of the Inside the Garage podcast with Kyle Hamilton, Cam Hart, and KJ Wallace. How cool has that been to be a part of that? I mean, Obviously, those are some big name dudes on the team, especially Kyle, and you're getting to
Right.
chop it up with them. So, what is your relationship with with those guys, and how did that come to be?
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. It's like, three scholarship guys and a walk on. How did that form, right? And so the four of us, and then um, a couple guys that aren't on the team anymore, and then Kyron. Like we formed a pretty close group our freshman year. There were like seven of us total, and so throughout the years, we stayed pretty close. And I lived with Cam my sophomore year off campus, and so this year, the four of me, Cam, Kyle, and KJ are like, we want to live together, right, in the house. And so, like, just because we were good friends, and then when we lived in the house, we sit around the house a lot and like just talk about random stuff, as any group of four or whatever guys would talk about. Like, this would be kind of funny if we did like a podcast, right? Kind of as a joke. And then as we started to talk about it more and more, like, why not, right? Like, why not try it? Like, it was in the summer, we had more free time in the summer. Like, let's see if we can figure this out. So we started to do everything ourselves. We ordered equipment. We like set up everything in our garage. We painted a table for it, and then at this time, the NIL stuff came out, and so we got picked up by Colin Coward's podcast company. And so with that, everything was like super easy for us. They sent us equipment, they produce it for us, and so from that point on, when they picked it up, it just took off. It turned into a whole production, and the setup in our garage is pretty cool. And I thank Colin, and I thank everyone that works with us. Um, it's just fun, right? It's like you have a conversation with three of your best friends on every Sunday for an hour about the game and then a bunch of other stuff, and people like to listen to it. There's a lot of Notre Dame fans, a lot of friends of ours, and it's been a really fun experience. And at the end of the day, it's just something fun to do with like your buddies.
Yeah, Notre Dame fans, I highly recommend going and checking that out on social media, and then obviously wherever you listen to your podcast, because really cool listen. And it's awesome, also awesome just to get these guys' perspectives, the day after a game. So here they go. They're going to go play against Virginia this weekend. And then on Sunday, you get to hear about, everything, the ins and outs, what happened on the sideline and all that stuff. So really cool. Speaking of things that you're doing off the field, definitely like to ask all of you guys what you're studying and what you plan on doing once you're done with Notre Dame football, because obviously this is a place that kind of grooms people for the rest of their lives. So just kind of what are you studying right now, and what do you plan to do once Notre Dame football is over for you?
Right. So, I don't know if the NFL is what I'll be pursuing, as part of WOPU Nation. but I'm a science business major with a pre-med focus. Um, so what I want to do is pre-med, and the next goal for me would be medical school. Um, and the end goal would possibly be like the field, orthopedic field or an oncology field, but medical field in general. I've always been interested in it just because I've been surrounded by it. Um, my dad's orthopedic surgeon, so I've always was intrigued by that. Interested in it, and it's cool to see athletes that he's worked on come back and play and get back to full strength. I can see it with my own eyes. Right, I'm playing with them, my teammates. So, it's definitely hard. Tomorrow morning I got an orgo chemistry exam at 8 a.m. So, it's definitely not a fun schedule to have, paired with football, but it's like there's a lot of labs and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's fun. I think that's what I want to do is probably medicine. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you for pulling some time away to do this when I'm sure you're going to be studying the rest of the night. But the last thing we'll ask you is, like I mentioned at the top, this is sponsored by Augie's Locker Room. WAPU Nation has a thing going on with Augie's Locker Room, which is really cool partnership. So just kind of tell what Notre Dame fans what they could expect if they went into Augie's Locker Room on a game weekend, and just all the cool things that he's got in there.
Yeah, Augie's locker room. A lot of the WAPU, all of WAPU went there for because he helped us. He's selling WAPU versus Everybody shirts, which everyone should get one. It's a pretty cool shirt. And there, when we walked in there, and it wasn't the first time I've been there. I've been there a couple times. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. A lot of stuff that you really won't find anywhere else. There's different, like, there's throwback like pullovers and jerseys and stuff, and there's like different game worn equipment that he has that no one else really has. And it's such a cool spot because when you walk in, you're kind of like you're like moved into like a different place. You're like all this stuff is like so cool. You're like transported in like this Notre Dame world, and it's just a bunch of cool stuff. And I highly recommend going because you're gonna walk out there with something that like everyone will be asking, like, "Where'd you get that?" Right? Like, 'cause it's the only spot you're gonna get it. So
Yeah, I describe it like walking into a Notre Dame time capsule. It's got something
yeah,
from every era, just really cool memorabilia and whatnot. But Connor, you get to study in for that organic chemistry test, and we appreciate you for having us for joining us, man.
thank you, thank you.